Good evening. This is the Community Redevelopment Agency regular meeting, Tuesday, April 9, 2019 at 5:30 p.m. Can you please call the roll?
Chair Llewellyn.
Here.
Vice Chair Odman.
Here.
Board Member Brandemart.
Here.
Board Member Harris.
Here.
Board Member James.
Here.
CRA Director Williams.
Here.
City Attorney Ansbro.
Here.
Thank you.
I don't have any citizen comments unless there's somebody here that would like to speak. No? Okay. Number 3 is administrative reports.
Good afternoon, CRA Board. I just want to take the time to highlight our City Center RFP that has been advertised on March 15th. Proposals are due on May 30th. We are currently advertising this RFP in Florida Trend, ICSC, Florida Redevelopment Association, South Florida Business Journal, and the Sun Sentinel, in addition to our regular advertising that we do through our city's procurement process. So I just want you to know that we're really trying to put it out there. We also will be reaching out to you to schedule a groundbreaking event in May. We don't have a tentative time period yet, but I'm going to be reaching out to you individually to determine when a good date is. Our beautification grants will be kicking off this month. Our contractor, Rebuilding Together South Florida, is ready to go, so they'll be interviewing applicants and assessing the properties and ensuring that they are eligible for this grant. We have a few upcoming events. Of course, Danny After Dark is this week. I hope you're not too tired from art and seafood, but we're ready to go for DAD. And we also have Patch Third Saturday coming up April 20th in honor of Earth Day. We're going to be doing some special things to highlight the patch and how we are really being sustainable and offering something innovative in the city of Dania Beach. We also have the Port Everglades Association Economic Engine Performance Report Luncheon and the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance Mid-Year Luncheon. That concludes my report.
Okay. And then you have a post-event report for the 2019 Arts and Seafood Celebration?
So before we, recap the event, I really just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone that participated. We had 90 volunteers. We had 19,000 people take time out of their day to come to Dania Beach to enjoy what Dania Beach has to offer. We had several sponsors that we are grateful to for their support. Coming back after last year, many of our sponsors stayed with us, and we're very thankful for that. We have city staff that assisted us in Parks and Recreation, in public services, and I really want to take a moment to thank the CRA staff that put in a lot of effort into this event. They did a wonderful job, and I just want to take a moment to recognize Kathleen Weeks, our CRA manager, who does so many things behind the scenes you would not even think of. She really covers this event from A to Z, and her work is noticed, and I want her to know that she is recognized and appreciated for her effort. So tonight we have a highlight reel that I want to share with you and the residents.
forward to the Art and Theater Festival every year. We're Dania residents, so nearby fun thing to do.
I was only supposed to cook for like 25 people, and like people just kept coming because they were smelling the food.
Very nicely done. Just real quick, I know that it seems like that was forgotten off of the city commission meeting. Remind me, and so that we call you up and we can play it again, because we always get a bigger crowd for the commission meeting.
Absolutely. I just wanted to also highlight our net operating costs for this year. We brought in about $90,000 worth of revenue against our expenses of $144,000 roughly. So our net operating cost is $54,000, which is a stark contrast to a few years prior. So we're really headed in the right direction with this event, and we see it continuing to grow and succeed, and more people wanting to come and be a part of it in terms of sponsorship, vendors, artists, and people in the community. So thank you.
Board Member James?
Yes. Last year, did we do the chef showcase?
Yes, there was a chef showcase last year.
I don't remember it. Oh, obviously, last year it kind of got rained out. But so this year was probably the first year that you can really tell the special touch that the chef showcase added, the value that it added to the festival. So many people raved about that particular portion, and those bleachers or those benches over there, they were full the entire time from the entire time I was there. And so I just wanted to thank you for taking this on. I know a couple of years ago we took this off the table as a board, and you came and you and your team really wanted to do this, and I'm so grateful for the vision and the passion that Kathleen has with this event, because she has made this happen, and you all have cut the cost tremendously in half is what we asked you all to do. I think my only question, I think I will be at that other meeting, but my only question would be, is that the time that I could share like future ideas, or is now the time for that, Raquel?
You can feel free to share now or at the meeting or on the
Okay.
the form that was sent out.
I think that I think that since we don't have the fire trucks anymore for the kids, maybe like a bounce house or something like that, or some other type of entertainment for the young kids running around would be a great touch to that as well. That's it.
Commissioner Brandon Marty?
Yeah, I want to congratulate you on the pile of dirt. Those kids loved it. Sliding around in that dirt where their mothers at home would probably yell, but they love sliding in all that dirt. Isn't it amazing? And also, Raquel, do you have a count for us of approximate, and even if it's an approximate count, of how many people were there on Saturday and Sunday? A separate count.
Okay, on Saturday we
That's
had
what I want.
a little over 10,000, and on Sunday we had close to 9,000.
Okay?
So
and-
for our total of
All
19,000.
right, I want you to know that the casino had informed me that they broke all records in their casino for, I couldn't believe him. He came here, the Ronaldo, and when Armando, both of them were out there walking around, and they said, "Hey, Chicky." I said, "What?" He says, "We broke all records." I said, "Are you including the first day this place ever opened over there?" He says, "I'm telling you, we broke all records." Yes. Plus, they got a lot of people that signed up to be players.
So how about in winnings? Do they break those records? Do people go away with more money too, or no?
They don't tell you wins and losses. The only time people love a casino is when they win anyway. But I wanted you to know about that. You can check it out with him, and he'll tell you. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
we did also get some feedback from some local wait staff and businesses that saw a lot of activity over the weekend, and our hope is that the impression that is made on the visitors during Arts and Seafood, that they will come back and spend more money in the city, invest in the city, and determine that they may want to live here, start a business here, and enjoy the city of Dania Beach for everything it has to offer.
Okay. My understanding is our presenter is not here, so we're skipping the presentation. Consent agenda. Are there any polls?
Motion to approve.
Second. Oh, go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No proposals and bids, and up for discussion and possible action. First item is Pride events from Vice Chair Odman.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I think I brought this up really briefly during one of our previous meetings, but in February I had attended Fort Lauderdale Pride, and I was completely blown away at, I think this was their second year doing it, at what kind of sponsors they had and what they had really turned it into. So I was looking more to find out what kind of crowd was going there, and what kind of tie-ins they had. They had put out some really interesting information about their demographics. That the people who had attended these were primarily people who were homeowners who, like 94% own one or more vehicle. 84% stayed at a local hotel, median income $76,000. So the point being that this was a group that had a lot of money to spend. And then further reflection, how much we just have, as a city, we've done nothing yet with that. I can't think of any LGBTQ event that we've ever had officially endorsed by the city. And Hollywood was involved in Pride, Fort Lauderdale, Wilton, obviously, Delray. So really all the coastal cities, and we were completely invisible. We were invisible to the LGBTQ community by not having any visibility, not having any events for them. So I would like to bring up the suggestion that we, I don't know how you want to enter this arena, but that we make some foray into it. So we had talked about different things. We had talked about, Fort Lauderdale has this great parade. So, there's that. Hollywood, I want to say at Hard Rock they did, they hosted maybe Drag Race. I don't know if you're familiar. Am I saying it right? There's so many different things we can do. There's pageants, or do you want to just do a film festival, like a small film festival, or do you want to just feature local LGBTQ artists? I don't know exactly how we want to do it, but I think it's time that we do. I really can't think of more of an appropriate time for us to finally step up our game and our commitment to being an inclusive city. So what do y'all think?
Board Member Brandon Marty?
Yes. First of all, I'm proud to tell you that at Palos I do Gay Pride every year. Palos is the only one in the city that even does anything relating to Gay Pride. That's why I go down to Rosie's. Huh? They're nice. I go to Wilton Manors because she's absolutely right. We do nothing, never have, and I don't understand that at all. And I'm all in favor of it. I just want better ideas than a parade. I want a better idea than that. I want it to be more, not a parade like Martin Luther King. I want it to be something nice, like an elegant type of thing where people will come to it. I don't know. I have no ideas on how to do it because I'm just so used to Palos and having it over there. But I'm for that. But I got to hear some ideas from you because I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Fort Lauderdale, really, they nailed their parade, so I don't suggest that
I know
we do
my
a
husband
parade.
told me that. He said it's fine.
See, look at all these allies we have up here.
Yes, you do have allies up here.
Well, and all the more reason that I'm so excited to bring this event up here. But yeah, more ideas?
Board Member James?
I would suggest whatever we do, if we do it on a Saturday to tie it into a Dania After Dark, we can have a Pride edition. I don't know how or what would be different about it, but we could do something around that. I've never been to Pride before. I know they just had one in Miami. I saw it on Instagram.
I know what we're doing next year.
So, wait, what? I'm confused. But no, whatever it is, I don't really have a lot of ideas.
Anybody else have anything? I had, well, some thoughts on this. I'd like to see maybe something, but I think something, we don't really know what the temperature is in the city for it. So that's one of the things. So I kind of would like to see if there's some way that we could do some sort of a survey to see if maybe the interest in the city. But another thing is what we could do if the purpose of this is to embrace the LGBTQ community and to make people aware that we are gay friendly and that this is a city that is welcoming to everybody. I'm wondering if it might be a good idea to start with, say, participating in Fort Lauderdale's Pride or Miami or Wilton Manors or somebody else as the commission or as the CRA. So that this way we're letting people know already that we're out there, that we are friendly to the LGBTQ community and that we are open to different events. So I'm just thinking that maybe start off with something like that and then maybe 6 months or following year we do something here. So that this way we're kind of introducing ourselves, since we have been invisible, introducing ourselves as a city, and then bring it here.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I definitely can understand the point of, how much is Dania Beach ready to be out and
especially
coming out.
it's not even just that, but I mean, with everything else that's going on in the city right now, with all the development and everything else, I'm just another event is what I'm saying.
No, I hear you.
So that's my only thoughts about that. Commissioner Brandon Marty?
Yes. Immediately, if not sooner, I'm going to stress that I do not and would never participate with a commission that was going to do a survey. What are you going to say? Are you in favor of gay? Are you against gay?
No.
Are you like this? You like that? We don't really care. What we're doing is we're working on a subject that the vice mayor has brought up, and that is about celebrating gay pride. And I do like the idea of participating and asking another town, even if it was Hollywood, if they would like to combine it. That would be a grand idea. A survey, I don't care. If I went out there and surveyed the people as to who likes who up here, we'd all be dead. I don't like surveys. Do you, Bill? Thank you very much. And what would I ask you? Are you gay?
That wasn't the point.
Not doing that.
That wasn't the point.
Well, that's what a survey does, hon. It says, do you like it or don't you like it? That's a survey.
I'm going to respond to that just briefly. It's not the kind of survey I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is if we maybe put out something about different types of events that people might be interested in. And with that, having people kind of see getting sort of a better temperature as to what different events people might be interested in, as opposed to saying yes or no on something. So just getting more of a broad opinion from the residents. Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
So Director, does that give you a little bit of a direction, at least for a jump-off point, for where we could start basically just brainstorming a couple of things, and we'll wade through them and start thinking what
We
might
can
make
definitely
sense.
come up with a proposal for a few event ideas. I think all the points made tonight were valid. I think going to another city as the CRA board and saying, we want to be a part of this, I think that's a wonderful idea. Commissioner James's idea to do a themed Dania After Dark, I think that is a good introduction. And if I'm not mistaken, Pride Month is in June.
It
It
depends.
kinda
They did
depends,
theirs in
yeah.
February. There's a couple different Pride months, but
And, we could do, like a themed drink, and proceeds go toward a nonprofit that works on pride causes. We could do, a special appearance by someone that's prominent in the gay community, and that is maybe an activist or a performer, someone that would draw people in and let people know that, we are here to support inclusion, and we're welcoming to everyone.
it might be worth it to reach out to Beach Betties. I don't know. They're one of the oldest gay bars in Broward, catering specifically, or more specifically, to women. So it might be worth reaching out to them and seeing if they have any interest in participating.
Just also to add to that, I think sponsorships are important as well. There may be groups that want to sponsor as well, so that it saves us a little bit on the expense overall. Board Member Harris, did you have something?
Yeah, I was talking to Commissioner Brandon Marte, and Palos has a pretty successful event.
They do.
But maybe a jumping off point could be that event plus making it bigger and better.
Or it could be more than one day.
It could be one.
Yeah,
so
we have a week, can they do something there?
That you're well aware of, to put up even a tent there. And I don't care if organizations that participate with gay situations will bring in paperwork and say, because you don't realize, but there's a lot of gay people that still need help, because to get people to understand where they're at in their life. And I can get that block free for you. And we'll just be playing off of Palos. I definitely want to be involved in it, definitely, because I just love that.
Your mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. I like that. I want to be involved in it. I think Commissioner Bill, you want to be involved, wouldn't you?
Well, I was thinking ahead to October when Wilton Manors has their huge Halloween parade, that we get a float and we all get on the parade through Wilton Manors and do a costume, and we'll get Chicky dressed in leather, and we'll get her out there.
I'm already in leather. I'm going.
So, the opportunities are there.
Right. I mean, and especially,
Oh, yeah.
and maybe not just Wilton Manors. Maybe do
Yeah.
Wilton Manors. Maybe do Fort Lauderdale.
Yes.
And then this way, at least we're out there, and people see that we are welcoming. I mean,
Does our CRA director have anybody she can talk with in Fort Lauderdale, Mayor?
I don't know.
I do not, but I will take your contacts if you have any.
Now I got to work on that.
You could probably, for Wilton Manors, I would suggest that you speak with their mayor.
Okay, to be on that float, but,
But other things.
okay.
Yeah.
So it seems like there's consensus to move forward with developing something related to Pride, yes.
Good, I love it.
I think so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for bringing it up.
Number 2 is bike sharing. Board Member James.
Yes, sorry. My computer is not cooperating. Okay, great. We've spoken a few times about the bike sharing. I just wanted to, before we bring back any type of, or engage in any type of specific costs in any of the vendors, that we actually have a consensus to bring something back to vote on. Now, I'm going to bring up a map. Or Keisha is. I see her down there. Hey, Keisha. This map kind of tells the tale of where you'll see the planned bike lanes, the ones that are not here yet, but the ones that are coming soon. And then the existing bike lane is right there in green, but we have some elsewhere. And then those stars, the beach already has a bike rack or vendor there. I'm not sure about their contract yet. I am working with our executive director to see if we have any stipulations that maybe so we can be uniformed in having one vendor the entire place, so that if you start on the beach, if you want to end in Dania Point, you can drop your bike off there. And so you would have it at the future Hilton Embassy Suites, the city center, AMO, Dania Point, and the casino, and a couple of points maybe in Dania Point. Depending on, so, okay, you can turn the lights back on. So depending on the type of vendors we want, that's the discussion I wanted from us or you all. They have some that are rackless, and they have some that have a rack. Me personally, I am kind of opposed to the rackless ones because people just be dropping them off wherever and you have to depend on someone else to pick them up. Versus when you have the rack, you have to put it back on a rack in order to stop being charged. That's my experience with that. Other than that, as far as cost, I know that depending on the density in the area, the vendor probably would not charge us if they feel like they'll get a lot of business there. But if it's a slower or a lower density area, that we can maybe share that cost. Our executive director could speak more on that if you have any questions about that. But I just wanted to see if we have consensus to move forward with this so I can bring back an item to vote on. Obviously, if there's something that is a budgetary item, that would wait to maybe even to budget. But if there are places that the vendor would be willing to put them in free of cost right now, that we move forward with that.
I would only say that I would agree with you. I think the rack is better as opposed to the rackless. I know that they have, it's not exactly the same thing, but they have the scooters in Fort Lauderdale right now that are making everybody crazy, and there's liability issues with that and everything. I think you're much better off having some place where people know they have to return the bikes. Otherwise, you're going to end up having bigger issues, I think, down the road. But otherwise, do we have consensus?
Yes.
Looks like it, yes. Yes.
So we'll come back with something that we can present and move forward on.
Next item is holiday lighting and decorations. Board Member James.
Yes, I've also asked the CRA to get some estimates about how much we were willing to spend and the direction we want to go in with our holiday lighting. Our holiday lighting right now up and down Federal Highway is kind of pathetic, to say the least, for lack of better terms. And especially with the Super Bowl coming, and even without it coming, our brand and our standard of what we are going to allow here, I think we need to set the bar a little higher. And so I am going to turn it over to CRA Director, our Executive Director, who has a little bit more information on them.
May I?
You may. Go ahead.
So Board Member James asked me to, look into some opportunities for expanding our holiday decor beyond the roundabout at City Hall, which is where we currently put lights up during the holidays. We did get some information from our Public Services Department on the number of poles on Federal Highway from Sheridan up to Griffin, and we have 51 poles available. We also have an initial inventory on the poles that have brackets if we wanted to do banners, not just for holidays, but for other branding or publicity that we want to do for the city. Essentially, if we were to do Federal Highway, if we wanted to start there and maybe expand in future years, or take a look at also maybe Griffin Road, because I know we have some holiday decor that can go there. We're looking at about 2 options. If we were to rent, that would be about $8,600 per year to do something that's lit, as well as with the garland going up and a bow at the top. We're looking at about $8,600 for 1 year to rent. If we were to purchase these items, it would cost a lot more upfront, but in the following years, it would be cheaper overall. So if we rented for 3 years, we would have lighting and decor for about $26,000 over the 3-year period. If we were to purchase, looking at that same 3-year period, we're looking at $24,000, which would include installation, storage, removal, insurance, handling. So when you rent, you don't have as many perks as when you purchase. So that's something that we would have to take a look at. We currently spend about $7,000 to do the lighting in the roundabout. So if we were to do additional lighting, we're looking at impact to the annual budget. If we were to rent, about $8,600, and in the first year, if we were to purchase, about $15,000. So that's something to consider. Again, this would be done through the budget cycle for fiscal year 1920. If this is something that we want to start small and then build up to more areas, I would recommend that so that it doesn't hit us so hard in 1 year, and maybe we can negotiate as we continue to expand in future years.
Vice Chair.
So 2 things. First, if we're doing the scaling out, which I mean is obviously going to be necessary, like starting with one area, building out, I would want there to be some sort of something that we start out with a plan saying, so that we know, okay, the next year we're going to cover this area. The year after that, we're then going to cover this area, because I really don't want to see the west side of Dania kind of left out, with what their one little raggedy half-lit soldier on.
There's more than one.
Okay, well, there's 2 or 3 raggedy old soldiers, and they all look terrible. So watching it build out, and so that they're, so that when you hear, well, what about the west side, or what about my area, you can say, listen, we have planned for you, you are included, and this is just how we've had to go about it. The second was just a clarification. So with the rent, I thought it was the other way around. With rental, when you do the rental plan, they don't include like maintenance and storage and things like that?
So when you do the rental, they're not going to continuously check and see if everything is going right over that 3-week period or 4-week period. It's up, and that's kind of
Right.
That's like it. When you do the purchase package, they will respond to anything. If a light bulb went out, they're there. If we wanted to adjust something, they're there. So there's a lot more customer service built into the purchase.
So so with the rental, there's no storage, and at the end of the holiday cycle, they don't replace lights and do full cleaning, things like that?
They just take it back.
They just take it back.
They just
Okay,
take it
all right,
back.
then that was my
I
misunderstanding.
mean, I think one of the things that we have to be mindful of, especially when we're considering other types of holiday decor, is to make sure that all of the religious holidays are acknowledged as well. That was one of the things that I'm talking to the company about. How do we make sure that we reflect the Jewish holidays and Kwanzaa? Because I think last year we missed the mark on that and didn't have it be as inclusive as it could be.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Board Member Brandon Marty.
Yeah. See, now, my take is a little bit different. I'd rather hire a company. Really, we hire companies all the time. Give them the streets that we want the decorations on, a list of events that we want decorations up for, and that's it. Instead of worrying about, are they going to get up before or after the holiday, like we've been doing? And our lighting has been awful, but there are companies that go out there and you just give them your plan and get bids on it and say, now how much? We want Dania Beach Boulevard, Federal Highway, Griffin Road, and whatever else that the commission chooses, and let them give us a price. We don't have to worry about putting them up, taking them down, worry about a light bulb out, because when they do the job is done. Just like Fort Lauderdale. They've got one gigantic snowflake that is so huge on every light pole in Fort Lauderdale, and there is nothing more beautiful than the snowflake. It doesn't hurt anybody's feelings. It doesn't do anything wrong that would be socially wrong. And I would rather lay the blame on them if it ever did go wrong. But I don't want to own it. I want a company to be given the dates of what you want. 4th of July, you may want red, white, and blue, like she said, or you said, the banner. They could banner the poles for that.
We can absolutely do that through the bid process or request for quotes.
I would love that.
We don't want to have any staff being responsible for putting those up or taking those down. We think that the way to go is to get a professional to do it. We only sought some preliminary information. We could not go out and do quotes at this time because, we don't want to really get locked in at this moment. It was just some preliminary information because Board Member James had asked that I look into it prior to the meeting so that during her discussion she could, speak on it a little more.
Well, Raquel, there are other holidays besides the Christmas holiday, and I think each one of us should put an input, and then what we don't like, we just discard and say, no, we've narrowed it down. Like Vice Mayor may have one, Mayor may have one, Bill is saying 4th of July, but in that situation, the company that we hire would put banners up, not lights. Lights would be more for the holiday of Christmas, but or whatever we want to call it. But banners, I love them. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, when we had the rebranding that we went to, where that man was out there, Red Line?
Yes, Red Line.
Red Line, right. He was talking about banners, too. They're beautiful when they're on poles.
Mm-hmm. We have.
I think that's the way we should go. I would support that.
Just a couple comments that I need to make. I know you have your light on, but I also would like to speak about this. Just to make sure, so because I know Parks has been doing a lot of this in the past, so we would be taking it away from the Parks Department?
We wouldn't be taking, to answer.
Park.
The parks would still do their event here.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that we're doing is the holiday lighting, like the actual decor, not
That's fine,
not
but
the program.
my suggestion would be then that I think we do need to have the CRA work with the Parks Department or with the city manager to figure out what aspects are being handled by Parks and what's being handled by CRA. And let me finish, please. I see you getting excited over there. Just give me a minute. So I do think that it needs to be a combined effort for that, first of all. I would agree with Board Member Brandon Marty that an outside company would probably be best because they would handle everything beginning to end, soup to nuts, and they would do all of that. And I actually had a note about that here that I wanted to ask about doing that because I actually thought an outside company might be best for the whole process, and then we don't have to involve city employees directly, CRA employees, and so forth. And I do think it needs to be throughout the city, not just US 1. And I don't like the idea of starting just with US 1 and then working your way out because you're going to have a problem with that. And you're going to have a problem with that throughout the city. Now, the other issue is that the rent versus purchase. If you purchase something, that's exactly why we have the problem with the decorations out on Griffin Road, because when they first went up several years ago, they weren't raggedy little soldiers. Now they are. So if you're going to have to replace them over time. So that adds an extra cost. And it could be 2 years, 3 years, what have you. So purchasing, I'm not so crazy about anyway. So just my thought would be that you'd lean towards rent, or you would get an outside company that would handle it and could do other potentially other events as well. Board Member James.
Thank you. I would like to ask, what is the current process currently, and who is doing what currently as far as the lighting?
Okay. So for the past several years, the CRA has been doing
Okay.
holiday lighting, getting quotes, securing a vendor to go out and do the work.
Okay.
Parks and Recreation has handled the holiday tree lighting. There is an existing Christmas tree. The Public Services Department is asked to assemble the Christmas tree and to do all the wiring for the lighting. Last year, the CRA contributed $5,000 towards the lighting. Parks and Recreation was requested to contribute to the lighting as well, about $2,500. And we did that essentially because there is an event tied to it that Parks and Recreation handles. Parks and Recreation plans the tree lighting ceremony, so they invite the bands and the local participants, rents the tables and chairs. The CRA does not do any of the event planning for the tree lighting ceremony. We just handle the bulk of procuring the lighting and ensuring that it's installed.
Thank you. So now I'm going to ask that we stay with that same process, because the process isn't broke, but the lights are, obviously. As far as the CRA being in charge of the lighting, I'm going to ask that the CRA continue, yes, to be in charge of the lighting, and if there is consensus to rent instead of own, or get a person to come and do it, a company to come and do it, that seems to be the way that we have wanted to go that way. Now, do we have consensus to
Hold
allow
on, there's several people have their lights on. So before
Okay,
you
but
go
I'm
to
speaking,
consensus,
right?
I understand
Can I
you're speaking.
finish?
Yes, but before you start going for a vote,
We're not voting.
you're asking for a consensus. And before you go to a consensus, I want to make sure everybody has an opportunity to speak. That's the proper way to follow the procedure.
Board Member Harris, do you have an issue with
You're
the
not the chair. Board Member Harris, your light is on.
But I'm reclaiming my time. I'm not finished speaking. Like that's very disrespectful.
No, it's not.
Well, I'm
board member,
talking.
board member James.
Wow.
Are you familiar with Robert's Rules of Order?
I was the mayor, remember?
Okay, then you
Okay.
should know that when you are going to speak to another member on the board, you are to go through the chair. So I'm asking you to please follow the rules of order so that we can keep order. And this way, if you are going to ask another board member a question, please ask the chair.
I
Thank
was
you.
not finished with my remarks. I
Then
would like to finish with
You
my
may finish your remarks.
Thank you. This is crazy. I'm going to extend the olive branch. I don't want no smoke. I don't know what it is, but this is ridiculous at this point in time. So as I'm speaking, once everybody is finished speaking, I am going to see what the consensus is, as I did put this on the table for discussion and possible action. I also want to know your thoughts on the tree. I, for one, think that we need to have a bonfire and burn it. I am very grateful that former Mayor Marco Salvino brought and introduced this holiday tree lighting. I do think that was a place to start. I do think that we can grow from there and we can do things in a better manner and have a better tree than what is there. As far as starting with US 1, I am definitely in favor. We already have the decorations there on US 1, regardless if it's nice decorations or we don't really agree with the decorations. But keeping them on US 1 and then phasing them out, I would like to see a phased out map to kind of go with what the vice chair has suggested. And the last thing about what was discussed, I definitely am in favor for looking at different events or holidays to put the banners up there to kind of go back and forth with that in our brand.
Board Member Brandon Marty, did you have something?
Mary, after all of that, I forgot.
And Board Member Harris, you did have your light on before.
Getting back to the banners on the streets, if we could come up with a couple of extra holidays, because we don't really have a 4th of July fireworks display here, but maybe some flag banners up the main arteries would be okay. And then 6 months later, we'll start with, that's in July, so 6 months later, we'd either start with some fall or Thanksgiving banners and then transition right into Christmas. Because I'm thinking of from a labor standpoint, if there's a banner already up there, and then we come along with the next, group of banners, and we can, the brackets are there, is that correct?
I heard.
Even along Sterling Road? Because, I'm
Through the
thinking
chair.
like, let's
Thank you.
seasonally do something.
We did have an initial inventory of poles with brackets from Public Services. So far, we have Federal Highway and Sterling Road, and due to some, unforeseen circumstances, we haven't gotten the inventory completed at this time, but we will seek to get that completed, so we have that information. I'm sorry, Federal Highway, we have 27 poles with brackets, and on Sterling Road, we have 7 poles with brackets.
Board Member Brandon Marty.
Yeah. Let's all face it, our Dania Beach downtown area is ugly. At least I find it ugly. And I think that these banners will maybe also entice some business owners there to take an interest in the holidays too. Really, because it always looks nice. And children love seeing a happy town. And I think that the banners will add to the ambiance of the town. But again, my thoughts, I hope, are straight. I don't want us other than to get the bids and give it to a company to do. Tell them we want it from Thanksgiving, right away, Thanksgiving, not December 20th. We give the dates. We want to all be in sync with each other. And every time a holiday comes up, they'll know in advance when they have to start putting up things. Was that what we understood, Mayor?
That was my understanding.
All right, then that's mine too. Bye.
And the only thing that I really need to stress here, I do think you need to speak with Eric in Parks, the city manager, because I know there's been some discussion about the tree lighting, about the decorations there. And I don't want people doing duplicate work. And it might be something that needs to be worked on together as opposed to separate entities.
Absolutely, Madam Chair. And that's something that we discuss with Parks and Recreation every year. And we will continue to do so.
Thank you.
So this is
Did you have another
CRA?
one? This is through CRA.
I mean, the CRA is the one that's going to handle this, right? Then
Well,
why
that's-
do we have to involve the city manager? It's just a question.
Well, because the city manager's over Parks and Rec, and because Parks and Rec has
that was
handled,
it.
because Parks and Rec has handled the tree lighting and all of that, there was discussion about the tree, there was discussion about the lighting on the tree and all of that. And I do know that there has been some discussions already amongst Parks and Rec regarding that.
But Mayor, this is different from that. We're not involving Parks and Rec. This is we're the CRA board.
I understand that, but I'm just saying that I don't want to see duplicative work taking place, because if you have Parks and Rec that's already working on something, because they may be, and now we're talking about the CRA doing something, it may be two totally separate things. All I'm asking for is communication between the departments. That's all. Before anything is done, before any sort of an RFP goes out or anything else, just that there be some communication, because I want to make sure that we're not spending the additional money in both places. That's all.
But if this board agrees as the board for the CRA to give it to the CRA, that's our decision. It is not the decision of the mayor. It's a decision
I'm
of
not
you
saying it's
included
right.
with us. And I say, give this project, because it is a project, to the CRA. If he wants to still be in charge of lighting up a Christmas tree that ain't got no insides, that's fine. I don't care. But if we're turning this over to CRA for bids, she shouldn't have to answer to the city manager or to Parks and Recreation.
And I understand exactly what you're saying, but what
Then I think we
what I'm
should
also
discuss it more.
saying is that there may already be things in the works.
Then
and
are you
just
saying you know of
communication.
something? Tell me.
I'm saying that I have heard some discussions about getting rid of the tree already, and I've heard some discussions about bringing in outside companies, potentially. And if that's the case, then I think the CRA and the city need to continue to work together as they have been in the past. That's all.
So this thing that we brought up tonight is not new to you at all?
I have heard some rumblings about it, yes. Because there were concerns.
Then I
we all
think-
had concerns about last year's tree lighting, and we've had concerns about the decorations in the past, and we've had concerns about the tree lightings in the
Right.
past. So it's been something that's been discussed. So, but not in a formal setting.
All right,
Amongst the board.
through the mayor,
Chair.
through the mayor and the chair and whatever else, okay, to the city attorney. City attorney, does this board have the right to make a decision on giving this project to the CRA? We are the CRA board.
Yes.
Then I'd
fine.
advise someone here to make a motion and get it done. There's too many hands in this pot of soup.
Okay. Go right ahead, Vice Chair.
Okay, I'm just going to put my hand in and pull it right back on out because I'm looking at some of those banners and I think they're going to be really great. And you know what else I love about them? You can do them more seasonal versus just specific to holiday. So I think that could be a neat idea too. To sort of welcome in autumn and welcome in winter, which is something that it's kind of hard to get the holiday feel around here sometimes. You think? So I think, that's something to explore. And then Board Member James, when you said about the tree, you wanted some idea about the how we felt about the tree. I agree with you that when former Mayor Salvino brought in that tree, it was a great addition to the city at the time. But I think we all agree that we've, at this point, outgrown it. So do you have the direction that you need? What more do you need from us?
I think I just want to offer some clarification and assurance that I am going to be communicating with the city manager and Parks and Recreation as we would normally do. This proposal is to enhance what the CRA already does. We already use an outside company. We don't do it ourselves. We don't request city staff to do it. This would just be an expanded version of what we already do. And I have every intention to coordinate. I mean, there's a reason why the lights that the CRA puts up, there's a reason why it goes on before the tree lighting ceremony, because we make sure that, we find out what's the schedule so we know to have the decor up in time. And we know the exact date it's going to come down. So this is something that we just, we would respond to your request in any way that you see fit, but we will follow the professional protocol and coordinate with the appropriate staff.
Thank you. Board Member James, did you have something else?
Is all the other discussion finished?
Yes.
Awesome. I would like to see if there is consensus to have a phased map, and we only start with what we already have, which is US 1 and Dania Beach Boulevard.
We do have decorations on Griffin Road.
Excuse me, and on the parts of Griffin that we already have, before we expand any further. I mean, how far up are we willing, as a consensus, to go up Griffin as far as with this type of decoration? So I'm looking for that consensus of a discussion, for sure US 1 and for sure Dania Beach Boulevard. But when we're talking Griffin, are we stopping at 95?
Well, I think eventually, I apologize.
No,
Can I
that's
go
okay.
ahead?
It's not me. So you can-
Eventually isn't the goal to get the entire city?
Correct.
So boundary to boundary. So what that map ends up looking like in over what time span, I don't know. But
Okay.
But the answer is yes. I mean, yes
Okay,
to
so a
95,
phased
yes
map.
to 4.
It
Sure.
actually currently, Griffin Road, there are decorations up Griffin Road all the way up to 441.
Okay, so I'm going to ask again if we have the consensus to start with US 1, Dania Beach Boulevard, and Griffin Road up into 95. Do we have the consensus? Yes.
Why
yes,
not up
yes,
to 441?
Yes. Okay,
Why not up to 441?
because we said we wanted to phase it out. That was the consensus. We have 4 people that's
We want to
saying-
phase out the
We-
section of town beyond 95 on Griffin
We-
Road?
I see you're getting excited.
No, I'm not. I'm just asking, I'm trying to clarify your comment.
The consensus is again, For the first phase to be with this type of decoration, correct, that's okay. US 1, Dania Beach Boulevard, and Griffin Road up until 95.
So to clarify, I think what the chair meant was that currently.
I know what she meant.
Oh, okay,
But it's
okay.
a different cost associated with the different poles going all the way to 441.
But that's a large portion
So-
of this city.
So even the ones that are already go up there, you're saying not have and those that extend to 441, you're saying
Not
to
have the
those.
type of lighting all the way around the coils and
Right, they just, like I said, have
right.
the.
They can have more basic decoration, but not the type that we're going to eventually phase out through the entire city.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, consensus.
Our executive
Consensus?
director has something to add, please.
I'm not finished talking.
You're asking for a consensus. She has something to add. Let her clarify, please.
I apologize
Go
if
ahead.
it's not in the
That's okay.
proper protocol, but I just want additional clarification because the existing decor that is put up every year, is it that you are asking that those not be put up anymore, or that those continue, but we just amplify what's on Federal Highway and then expand that amplification to other areas? Because as part of the CRA plan, we focus on marketing the downtown and beautifying our downtown and our CRA district. Once we begin to go further beyond, that's at that point I would ask that the city manager look into how to address that. If the focus is currently on the downtown, this is something that we can facilitate as just modifying our existing program and just adding to it. So I just wanted to clarify that we're not necessarily stripping the existing decorations away from all areas, but just that the CRA is being asked to enhance the CRA district with holiday lighting and seasonal banners.
Absolutely. So the additional that we are discussing, I'm asking that it be phased. That's. Do we have a consensus for that? The additional that it
Yes.
that it be phased. Great. Yeah, because
And don't forget, we go all the way out to Hard Rock.
Right. Well, we're not taking anything away, which is, I think, what the chair and I were just looking for clarification on.
Correct. Okay, board member comments? Anybody? On anything? Oh, no, I have one more thing. Oh, you do? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. I'm sorry. Affordable Housing Forum, Board Member Harris.
The Affordable Housing Forum that we are proposing, along with our lobbyist in Washington, Josh Gaviton, that we've been working on for the last couple months. So we finally have a plan now, and a purpose was to share ideas and information related to affordable housing, supporting and providing affordable housing opportunities. I see the pastor out there, so you're included in the list. The proposed date that we're having the forum with all of our team here and everybody on the CRA board, that I'd like everyone to either confirm a date of May the 9th or May the 16th. The forum tentatively would be from 9:30 or 10 a.m. to noon, most probably at the Hotel Morrison in the event space on the second floor, with a design being a hollow square configuration for the room so we get enough people in with some theater seating also. The elected officials and staff invited Wasserman Schultz, Senator Rubio, Senator Scott, Commissioner Tim Ryan, and all the Broward County Commission, Bertha Henry, the Broward County Administrator, all the people from HUD, all the people from the Broward League of Cities on the Affordable Housing Task Force, Ralph Stone, Scott Strawbridge, folks from the Dania Beach Housing Authority, Nancy Robin with Habitat for Humanity, Craig Vanderleen with the Crisis Housing Solutions, Reverend Paul Wiggins with the Greater Mount Zion AME Church. We'd like to have the event recorded. We'll have a note taker there, and what we're trying to do is come up with best practices for affordable housing that can be a model for Dania Beach that we can implement with the rest of the city. And also what Fort Lauderdale is doing this week, actually on the 12th, they're having an affordable housing kickoff for some homes that they're building. They're building 11 new homes over in the Sistrunk area. So here's the announcement for that. So I just wanted to talk to the board about the date, the place, the time, the mission, and the purpose. And if you want anybody else on the invite list, Josh is ready to send out the invites via letter and also via invitation and also via email, so we can get a consensus and get an RSVP list on who's going to be there, and we can take it from there.
What were the dates again? You proposed?
May 9th or May 16th, basically 2 hours in the morning. Congressman Ted Deutsch also, Nan Rich, Beam Fur, Kevin Greiner from FIU, who did the charrette last summer, Mayor Josh Levy.
These are confirmed RSVP?
These are the
No.
invite
No,
lists,
these are-
but it's 1 month from today, so we need to get the invites out, and if we can get a consensus on whether to move forward, the invites can go out tomorrow.
Some questions out there. Board Member James?
Yes. Okay. I had a conversation with Mr. Gabaton about a week ago, maybe, and he had mentioned that you all already had the forum kind of set up.
We don't have
And
an
the
agenda.
dates
The
already
dates?
set up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a little, I don't understand, I guess I want to further understand, are all these dignitaries coming for 5 lots?
No, it'd be the whole affordable housing.
We don't have, we don't have,
Could potentially have it.
we could potentially have, what, the other 7?
Potentially, and other areas around the city as well, where there's some surplus properties. I know Habitat for Humanity over in, let's say, for example, because we know the neighborhood, the street that goes down where the 80s Club is, there's some really derelict properties around there that Habitat for Humanity, maybe Pastor is aware of it, they have a program called A Brush with Kindness, where they take 10 or 12 houses and they offer new landscaping, painting, new windows, new roofs. So it's looking at all these programs that are available and bringing it to us so we can see which one suits us best. And I've been working with Raquel and talking about this, and Josh, and the task force with the Broward League of Cities. So everybody's on board with having a forum and establishing what the best practices are for the individual municipalities, and it could start with us.
Are we going to try to prioritize and make sure that everyone could be there?
It will be a properly noticed meeting, and
No,
that's...
I'm talking about us.
Yes, everybody would be invited because I need your input and your questions and your best practices and the information that you have. It's a Thursday, so I don't think it conflicts with any city meetings, but May 9th or May 16th.
So
And
are those
it's a
the only
Thursday.
days that we could possibly have it, is my question, because.
Well, my question is, in getting those dates, is that we've been talking about this kind of tentatively since January, and I would like to get on with it. So May 9th or 16th, so that still gives us a month to plan. And we'll have another meeting before that so we can make an agenda. And we can each speak to all the dignitaries, and we can talk about Dania Beach, and it would be a good mission and a team to spotlight our affordable housing, get the pastors involved from the church, because I know Pastor Wiggins wants to be involved. And I think it's a really good way to bring everybody together and talk about what we can establish as the best practices.
I think that this is a great idea. I don't like the notion that you've been working on 2 dates since January, and this is the first we're hearing about it. And I want to make sure that it's the will of the board to make sure that those dates work with all 5 of us. And if they don't, we find a date that works with all 5 of us, because forget all the dignitaries. The most important people that will be at that meeting is us. Right. We will be the ones making the decisions on the housing program, period. So I want to make sure, I don't know people's work schedules. I don't know the chair, the vice chair. I know we might not have city, but they have other jobs that may conflict. And I know Commissioner Brandon Marty has her seniors. I'm not sure when they meet as well. And so I want to make sure that those 2 dates are best for all 5 of us. And if they're not, that we choose one date or a couple of dates that's best for everyone.
Because I purposely scheduled it the 9th because I believe the seniors meet on the 2nd, May the 2nd. which is the first Thursday, which is May the 2nd, because May 1st is on Wednesday, May 1st. So
And so is Vice
the
Chair.
9th or the 16th. Does that work for?
Well, hold on. Vice Chair, did you have something first?
I did, and Board Member Harris, I love this, so I don't think that I don't. I'm just trying to understand it, because I hadn't really heard much about this, so I'm just trying to understand it fully for what it is. So, are you going to be planning it? Are we planning it?
Josh is doing the invitations. Do you know Josh Gabaton? Have you
No,
met him before?
no.
He's our lobbyist that we pay
Okay.
money for in Washington,
So
D.C.
he's going to put together, like, because if Marco Rubio is going to be here, we need to do media, we need to do all kinds of catering. So Josh
Yeah.
will
he
do
can
that.
do it. He's a turnkey operation.
Okay, so he does food and catering.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's fine.
absolutely. And we'll have a film crew there to document our meeting as well.
Okay, and then who's coming up with the agenda? Because you said there's no agenda or purpose yet. So do you need us to do it, or
I
are
do.
you doing it?
I do.
In a month, you
In
want
a month? Come on, a month?
That isn't much.
I mean,
Okay.
Josh will lead the program, but we'll do
Look.
the introduction.
I'm down like 4 flat tires. I'm just asking for the clarification, because before it sounded, just
Yeah.
hear me out. It just sounded like you were inviting us to be there and asking us which
No.
date, which was fine. And this is fine too, but I just want to know what, like, I want to make sure I deliver, like what
Sure.
that we're giving you what you need to make this successful. And is the director involved? Does the director need to do anything? Does she know what she needs to do? Because up until 30 seconds ago, I didn't know that you needed anything from me and from the other board members. So I think we need clear direction from you. What, besides a date, what do you want from us to bring to the table for this meeting with, Rick Scott and Debbie and all these people, while Josh is getting the other stuff together?
What's that?
But
Be here
yes,
before that,
otherwise,
so-
I'm in favor of it, but we'll need to know what you want from.
Okay, let's do this. As soon as this meeting is over, I'll contact Josh and see if he can come down before that date, and we'll
Okay.
all sit down or whoever can.
Okay.
Or at the next meeting. When's the next
The
meeting?
next meeting is right before that.
Yeah, so
that
it'll
would
have to
a
be
problem.
sooner than that, and maybe do a brainstorming session with
Like a
Raquel
workshop.
and the director to see, put our, with Josh's help, because he does this kind of thing in other cities around the country, so.
Okay. That's fine.
Affordable housing and how we can, really do a really team showing and make us shine
Board
as the
member,
model for affordable housing in Broward County.
Okay, well, either date works, just since I
Okay.
had 2 more seconds on there, so I don't take up anyone else's time. I am free for either of those dates that you would
Okay.
like.
Board member Brandon Marty.
Yeah. Rick Scott came here to Dania Beach. I brought him here. It took me 4 years. An advanced team had to come first to check out the grounds to make sure there's nobody there who's going to assassinate him. I also had to go and get the state flag of Florida, a flag of this, a flag of that, a bunch of flags because he came to visit the seniors, and he did have multiple pictures with him. I want to see that all these names that were just thrown out of us, how many of them are going to RSVP, that they're all willing to be in the room at the same time, and I don't care what the occasion is. I just don't see that happening. Plus, Rick Scott needs more than May 9th and May 16th to clear his agenda book in order to come to the great Dania Beach of Florida. I don't see this happening on those dates. So yes, I'm telling you, bring Mr. Gabaton here, and I want to hear him say that he can do this with that list that you just read to us, because I don't think he can.
I would like to propose that you do speak with Mr. Gabaton and see, and maybe have our executive director maybe send out a note to us to find out availability for maybe some sort of a workshop so that we can discuss it further with him. And then maybe we can propose some additional dates. I will tell you that both of those dates are bad for me, but I'll find coverage if I need to. So I'll be flexible on it as much as I can. Board Member James.
Um, 'Cause- 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 And
I think we could
all
get them
the
to
others.
do a sponsorship as well
Okay.
as the food, so the
Okay.
cost to the city would be minimal.
Okay.
And, you know, from doing a lot of meetings, I think the Hollow Square with some additional theater seating because of the number of people, we could work it out. I mean, we have the seating diagrams for the Morrison Hotel. And, I just think that we need to put this out there to get it going and see who responds. I know, and we all know, that not everybody can go to everything on a particular date, but I think we need to get it out there and see who can RSVP so we can get going. Maybe Senator Scott can't come, or maybe Bertha Henry can't come on that day, but a month away, let's put it out there and see and get the invitations out. Because we don't know until we try, and I like to err on the positive side and say, let's put out 50 invitations, and if we get 20 RSVPs back, then we have succeeded.
Hold on, our executive director had a question. Our executive director has a question first. Thank you.
It wasn't a question, Madam Chair. It was just acknowledging that, yes, I will circle back with Josh Gabaton and identify a date where we can have him come and explain what his role will be in crafting this event.
Thank you. And Board Member Brandemar.
Yeah. Mayor, I'd like to know why is this being brought up to us only weeks before? Why were we hit with something like this only in 4 weeks' time? What took you so darn long?
Commissioner Harris, do you
go
want to
ahead.
respond?
It was a coordinated effort between the CRA with our needs and the League of Cities and with the lobbyists in Washington that we had to plan ahead.
Okay,
And
question then.
Yeah.
Why didn't the CRA, if she was aware of it, warn us ahead of time?
well, that's why it's on the agenda tonight, so we can talk
4
about
weeks
it.
before? I don't think so.
A month? It's not enough time?
No.
Raquel, go ahead.
So, Mr. Gabaton did send me a proposed date, and I then suggested that Board Member Harris come to the CRA board and seek consensus and collaboration on this meeting because of the magnitude and the subject matter. So Mr. Gabaton and Board Member Harris have been in discussion and have informed me of some of the ideas, and I have, given some input as to who potentially could be invited from a local standpoint. I know Mr. Gabaton was looking at elected officials at the federal level and state level, but I did suggest to Board Member Harris, I think it would be prudent to bring it to the CRA board and ensure that there is consensus and collaboration.
Okay.
Because this board only meets once a month, so we have to. Last month at this time, we didn't know about it. I know we had a League of Cities task force meeting scheduled for this Friday on the 12th, but we kind of pushed that back so we could implement the 10 or 12 people on the League of Cities task force from around the county to come to this meeting as well and speak about best practices. It's really basically an ideal sharing forum.
It's basically an event that should have been planned a long time ago. I mean, the names that you threw out, half these people never met up with one of them in their entire life. I know that for a fact. A lot of them that you said, I don't even know. So I'm just saying that from now on, I would like to give a little bit of direction to CRA. When you even get wind of something that's supposedly supposed to be such a big thing like this, please even drop me one line, even if it's got 6 syllables. Okay? I don't like a surprise like this because it took me months to prepare for then Governor Scott to come to IT Parker. It took me months to prepare, and Ann Castro, who helped me to prepare for it. Thank you.
Executive Director, go right ahead.
May I respond? So when this thought initially came forward, it had more of a local perspective, and I think that once Mr. Gabaton got involved, because of his connections and his contacts at the federal and state level, I think at that point is when those additional potential guests were brought to the discussion. So as soon as I was made aware of the intent, I did make the suggestion to bring it to the CRA board.
Any further discussion? Can we, you were going to speak with Mr. Gabaton? Okay. And then can you provide that information to our CRA executive director, and then she can send us a note about all of it? Okay?
Because even if, I'm sorry, even if we can't, get the more high-profile elected officials, maybe a member of their staff could come. And also, there's a good bit of people in Broward County Housing Authority, which I've already talked to, that may be able to add their input. And, with this going on in city and Pompano Beaches, and I think the time is right, because this building boom that we're having now, none of us know how long it's going to last.
Yeah, right.
So, the bubble could burst any minute. So that's why I think that if we can get some housing started and underway, that I think it's to our best advantage, and we can establish what our best practice is going to be.
Okay. All right. Board member comments. Board member Brandon Marty, do you have anything?
No, just please remember in your prayers Charlie McElroy, because he's not doing well at all. Okay, so just remember him, all right? That's all.
Board member Harris? Board member James?
No.
Nothing? Vice Chair? Nothing from me. No information items. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Chairman, I just got a text back from the mayor of Wilton Manors that we are invited to be in the Wilton Manors Pride Parade on June the 15th if we
go.
if we so choose. So,
What can we put in it?
Saturday, June the 15th. You or not?
Can we maybe do an invite for that so that we have it on a calendar? Thank
I'll
you.
have
Certainly.
the mayor's office send us an official invite. if
That would be
that's-
perfect.
Okay.
So then it's on a calendar
All
too.
right. Okay.
Okay. So no information items, and we are adjourned.